11, the White House defending the president's decision to fire FBI Director James Comey. The president claims he simply wasn't doing a good job.
But that explanation isn't stifling the president's critics as the fallout continues tonight. We have live team coverage. Local 10's Janine Stanwood is standing by with reaction from South Florida's congressional delegation.
But we begin with D.C. Bureau Chief Ross Palumbo with some breaking news outside the White House tonight. Ross, take it away.
Well, Laura and Calvin, after all of the agonizing whether the president should have fired James Comey, tonight for the very first time we're hearing from Comey himself. We've just obtained his goodbye letter to the FBI. Take a look. It begins this way. I have long believed that a president can fire an FBI director for any reason or for no reason at all. I'm not going to spend time on the decision or the way it was executed. I hope you won't either. It is done and I will be fine, although I will miss you and the mission deeply. Regardless of that letter, there still, though, is some controversy surrounding his firing here at the White House tonight.
Why did you fire Director Comey?
Because he wasn't doing a good job, very simply. He was not doing a good job.
After firing the FBI director, the president himself coming under fire, prompting protest outside of the White House.
Yes, certainly surprised by it.
And an outpouring of shock and outrage at the Capitol.
To have this happen, and happen now, is beyond surprising.
Now, during an ongoing investigation into the Trump campaign's connections to Russia.
Will the new FBI director be in charge of the Russia investigation?
The president refused to answer on the very day that he met with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, and refused to let the American media in to see it. And on a day where Russian President Vladimir Putin voiced his support.
President Trump is acting in accordance with his competence and in accordance with his law and constitution.
That's not what this was about. The president took strong and decisive leadership here to put the safety and security of the American people first.
The White House now says his decisive action came after more than 3 months of indecision.
He'd been considering letting Director Comey go since the day he was elected.
The White House insisting the firing had nothing to do with Russia.
No charges are appropriate in this case.
But rather Comey's handling of the Clinton email investigation.
I think it's been an erosion of confidence.
Erosion despite the president's ongoing support, beginning during the election.
Good job by the FBI.
But as Comey spends his first day off the job, home and unemployed.
Nothing less is at stake than the American people's faith in our criminal justice system.
Some remain unconvinced.
Anybody affiliated with Russia and Trump seems to not have a very long career.
Well, we are also learning here at the White House tonight that James Comey has been invited to testify in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee coming up on Tuesday. No word yet whether he will accept that invitation. The same committee, by the way, has now subpoenaed documents from Michael Flynn surrounding its Russia probe. They initially requested that he release those documents voluntarily, Laura and Calvin, but he declined to do so. For now, that's the very latest live from the White House. Back to you.
And it keeps going on. Thanks a lot there, Ross. We'll see you tomorrow. Our team coverage continues now back here at home.
Local 10 News reporter Janine Stanwood live from Fort Lauderdale with how South Florida lawmakers are reacting. Janine.
Calvin, Laura, you spoke to members of both sides of the aisle, and some of them tonight using some pretty colorful language.
Something is rotten in Denmark, and Denmark in this case is a metaphor for Washington, D.C. and Donald Trump.
After the swift firing of FBI Director James Comey, South Florida Democrats the most fired up.
For Mr. Trump to fire him is a brazen act to let us know just how desperate he is. And he's trying to hide something. And I think what he's trying to hide is the interference of the Russians.
Representatives Frederica Wilson and Alcee Hastings calling for an independent investigation into Russian meddling in last year's election. Fellow Democrat Ted Deutsch says the firing smells like abuse of power.
It's in authoritarian countries where the leaders fire the people and get rid of the people who are investigating them.
The timing of this decision certainly raises a lot of questions.
Republican Carlos Curbelo also calling for a select committee to continue the Russia probe.
The American people deserve a transparent investigation.
But Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart telling us Comey became a divisive figure and had to go.
That investigation is taken as far as it will go, and that hopefully we can now have an FBI director that is not the center of controversy.
And Senator Marco Rubio also saying that he was surprised, but it was the president's decision to make. We're in Fort Lauderdale tonight. I'm Janine Stanwood, Local 10 News.